I am Melissa and/or MINABEAR, whatever you want to call me. I just wanted to talk about the new Atomic V hoop a little bit since I just got mine, and it's one of the bigger updates I've seen from Astral Hoops in probably like 3 or 4 years now. It was like their last big one with the Persistence of Visions patterns. So this is the Atomic V. It has a lot of similarities to their older models, but a couple of changes in, how the menu works a little bit, a couple of new features added. Turn it on. So same standard turn on, just push the button and joystick on the bottom. You're going to have extra favorites now. You used to only get like 15, now you get 2 favorites menus in the front. The main change I noticed when I first turned it on was this first menu is usually your favorites menu on older modes, older models. Now it's a mega mix mode, so apparently all the patterns in it are kind of like, I guess, randomized. Every time you click the same pattern, it changes a little bit, basically. So it's like when we used to have those secret random patterns on the old ones. Not so secret, but it's like you get a bunch more of those sort of now, because I think those were like everybody's favorites. So the first menu is your mega mixes. The next two, when I pull the joystick to the right, facing forward is when the insert is kind of behind your hand, by the way. You have 2 favorites menus. So that's 30 favorites you can save there. You just keep clicking right, and you just go through all the different patterns. So you do have some classic atomic patterns, which is your blue menu. This one. This is where you'll see all the stuff that were on the older atomics that everybody recognized these patterns. There's new POV modes right behind this menu. It's the next one over, this pink menu. So these are just going to be updated Persistence of Vision. So I feel like this hoop has, like many banks worth of new patterns. They're a little on the crazier side, which I appreciate. They look really good. They look very different than anything Evokes have had on them before. As for like some other, let me just pick a mode, some other, changes they've made would be brightness control has always been the same. You're going to pull down, you still have the same brightness control right where it has always been. Just click through the numbers, the little LEDs, pick the brightness you want. That hasn't really changed. There is a battery meter now. So you hold the button in, you see these 3 little lights pop up. And that is your battery meter, so it's going to range from like red to a green. The thing I did notice now is when you hold your joystick in to turn the hoop off, which is, everybody knows how to do that, you have to hold it just a little bit longer now for the hoop to actually go off. Because you'll hold it, you'll see your battery meter, you have to wait for the battery meter to turn off. So it does take an extra maybe second or 2 than it used to, which is like weirdly hard to get used to. I'm used to just like clicking it off. But that's not a big deal. So you just hold that in, anything, bam, hoop's right on. So it's a quick little check just to see where your battery's at, so I appreciate that. Apparently older models did have a battery meter, but it was a little harder to find. Saving your favorites is the same. You still push the joystick forward. Hold on, in this mode you can't do that. Okay, push joystick forward. You get to select your favorites mode. As always, you just click through the LEDs. You can click over now, click to the right or the left to get to your second favorites mode, because now you have 2, so you can have 30. So that's a lot of favorites. I don't even know if I ever have that much time to pick that many favorites, but maybe I can fill it up. You can set custom colors too. So when you used to be in a mode, holding it left or right, takes you back to the menu. Now you can just click it, just like one click. Every time you click it once, it changes the actual like base colors to the pattern, and which I think is pretty cool. If you want your pattern to be more green, a little more pink. I noticed, I don't know how many other hoops do the custom, color selection, but I believe the Phoenix and the Future hoop do. Those use remotes, as far as I know. So yeah, it's a little hard to show on video, but you are definitely going to be changing colors. You can change the speed of the pattern as well. I'm still clicking through colors. So the speed of the pattern would be up or down, long ways. You would click this way. So see how much slower that just got? Pretty cool. There's a lot of customizability here. I actually really like that speed change. It's like a whole different pattern now just because you really calmed it down a little. I don't really like strobing effects too much while I'm hooping. So I think it's nice you can slow some stuff down. Let me click it back up again and look at that. It's much quicker now. So these little changes I think are really cool. You really can make your hoop unique to your, style, what you prefer. Okay, here's an example of changing the colors for the side-by-side buttons. So it's a very kind of white-green. I click sideways. It's a different, it's changed now. It's more of a color fade. I'll click this side again. Now it's more of a solid blue. And this is all the same pattern. Click this side again. And it's going more of a pink. And I just kind of keep clicking through. See, it's getting... And this is all in one menu bank that I've done this. So if I go back to the menu, you'll see those were all on this first little LED. All those color changes. Let's try a different pattern. These ombres are pretty great. Let's try to click through the colors again. Clicking the color again. Clicking the color again. Every time I click side by side, the pattern looks incredibly different. And I believe you can save these custom color selections also to your favorites. So if you create your own little color speed combo that you like, you just save it right to your favorites. And you can access it whenever you want. Okay, another speed change. Clicking down. It's a very slow speed. Nice slow speed. Click it back through again. And it's much faster. I mean, the difference is just awesome. So you can really see how changing the speed of a pattern makes the pattern look entirely different. It's not even remotely the same that it was. Slow it down. Look at that. Look how much slower that is now. We're going to speed it back up again. I'm clicking, 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 clicking. Bam. I mean, that's pretty awesome. And then on to the next thing will be random modes within other menus. So there was always those two menus in the old Atomics where at the very end light was like a little random mode, so every time you clicked it, it would be a different pattern. They've made it a little easier to find now. So you have this orange one at the top, so it's separated. This makes it a lot easier to find that random mode. Now every time you click that, you get a different pattern. Me personally, I used to always save the random modes to my favorites menu because I did like that they would always be different. Click again. There's also a lot of really amazing, like rainbow fading ombre type patterns on the hoops now. I mean, they really, I feel like when it comes to just ombres of colors, Astral Hoops just really stepped up their game on this model. They were like, we want super HD. Like these colors are gonna blend right into each other so well. Very subtle, I don't know, it's like blending eyeshadow, that's how I think about it. It's like nicely blended eyeshadow. Let's get out of here. I love how similar this hoop is to all the other ones, It's always, I think Astral has some of the easiest menus to use of any smart hoops I've used. I've used quite a few. So I really appreciate that they've kept their menu consistent over the years, because they have been in business for a lot of years now, it seems like. Okay, so let's get back to the very first menu. Go all the way to the front. So this is the menu you're going to turn your hoop on to. Your first menu is the mega mixes, which is all those like sort of like randomized patterns that are a little bit different every time you click them. And then your next two menus are your favorite menus. So your favorite menus are still in the very front. Designer menu, same thing, still at the very end. So they have made sure to keep a lot of stuff in the same places. So as you move to the next hula hoop, you don't feel so like confused about like, you know, new features or software and all that good stuff. These are better on battery, by the way. They've changed up their programming from my understanding, and they boast a much more lengthy battery life as opposed to older models, whereas I never had a problem with battery life, period, but that's just me. So I'm grateful that it's going to be even nicer now. So just kind of giving you just a little, it's a little bright in here, but I feel like this hoop is still somehow shining pretty nicely with all this natural light. This particular hoop is a 31-inch inner diameter, so it's in the 3/4 inch polypro, double density. They do have these menus, these little like LEDs at the end. I believe those are your shuffle modes. That's where they've always been. Just different time increments on how quickly they're going to shuffle through your patterns. Like I said, this is not really a tutorial. I just wanted to make a video and just talk about it because it's the biggest change I've seen since their original POV release, which was epic at the time. Just kind of showing some patterns. It's like bed hooping. Bed hooping's good, right? I've stood behind Astral since the very first Evoke I got, probably 5 or 6 years ago. You can't go wrong. I've never had issues with mine, ever. I've never had to send an Astral in because something internal glitched out, ever, which I think is crazy to say that, because I've had problems with many other hula hoops. So that's why I want to make videos just kind of talking about their stuff. This hoop is a great update. I feel like I almost didn't realize how quickly an upgraded hula hoop came out. I was like, wow, I need to get that. Just as greatly balanced as every other Evoke I've had in my life. I believe their double density is in 5/8 inch now as well, which is another game changer in my opinion. So you can have HD LEDs in, you know, your nice thin 5/8 inch tubing. Let's check out the new Astral POVs again. So there's the blue ones, or no, purple. So this like more purpley menu is the new POVs. I'm about it. When I first got this hoop, when I like first unboxed it, I got it like 2 days ago. The moment I turned it on to the first Mega Mixes menu and turned the hoop on and saw what they looked like, I was like, this is not even. It was crazy. It was just so different than any pattern I had seen on previous Evokes. I was like, wow, they really got some crazy patterns they just came out with. So when you've been using Evokes as long as I have, I guess, it's exciting when they come out with a new pattern bank every now and again. The designer is also cool, especially now that so many people have had the designer Evokes for so long. The online library of patterns is growing because people like me don't like to make patterns, but I do like to download other people's. So I think that's cool that there's a lot of patterns out there now that people have made in the recent years. always got my hoop upside down. Obviously, I'm gonna have to make a video of me actually hula hooping with this thing, but it is like 100 degrees out right now and it's daytime. I just had to show off some of these patterns. I mean, geez, with the new, there has to be like 4 new pattern menus or something. Like, this is crazy. There's so many, like, I'm like overwhelmed. Like, I have so many new patterns to look at in my life. Gorgeous hoop as always. Well, hopefully this video was somewhat informative or helpful or something. I don't know. If you do decide to get an Astral or get the new Atomic B, which is probably going to be the shiz, please use ambassador code MINABEAR, which will be posted like all over this video probably anyway. I'm going to do bed isolations, which is quite difficult. My whole hoop is slightly on the larger side. 31 inches inner diameter. Isolating. Sitting and isolating.